It is absolutely true that the City of Toronto has a revenue problem. Many of us have been saying this since amalgamation, in fact, and because we've been saying it without it being heard, the quality of life in the City of Toronto is deteriorating. We represent a city where over 10,000 people don't have a home tonight. We represent a city where 1 in 4 children live in poverty. 1 in 4 children live in poverty. We represent a city where, just from what we heard during the budget debates, the TTC in 10 years will have a $3 billion state of good repair backlog. Our transportation network, the backlog has been growing every year for 15 years and will grow for the next 10. Whatever frame you have for what a city needs to deliver, we're failing inside that frame. And we're not failing because we're inefficient, and we're not failing because we take on responsibilities that other governments don't want to take on. We absolutely are the last line of defense when people need supportive housing, and we have to take that burden on if other governments don't. That piece is established. But what caught my ear in the mayor's remarks, and I want to underscore this, is that when we are trying to work out deals with the province or the federal government on building infrastructure, on funding housing, on providing the very supports and social housing that Councillor Holyday talked about, they always say, oh, you have these other revenue tools, use them. And as the mayor pointed out, it's not as easy as that. We have, for example, on the books, the right to re-implement the vehicle registration tax right now. We could do it right now, except the province doesn't collect it anymore. So there's no system we can piggyback onto. We would literally have to create a whole new department to register people's motor vehicles in the City of Toronto. An enormous expense of time and money. Similar problems exist on some of the other taxes. I have my view that I believe that there are going to be significant problems with the parking tax, but let's go ahead and have staff look into that. The original report says we would need the province to cooperate because it would be the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation that would have to do that work. Do you think Doug Ford is going to phone up the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation and say tax parking spaces for these guys? I don't think so. But we heard the mayor say that by clearing the decks on this, making the case for what we can and cannot do, we take that argument off the table for the larger conversation. And the larger conversation is a renewed financial relationship with the City of Toronto and the other orders of government. A little history lesson. During the Great Depression, all of our social services as a country fell apart. And it's because municipalities, together with charities, were responsible for providing all the social services and all the unemployment supports. And as a result, something like 1/3 of all municipalities in Canada went bankrupt. So there was a new conversation, and the federal government said, we will take on unemployment, we will take on housing, and the provinces will take on social services. And the other part of the deal was that we got constrained that we had to balance our operating budget every year. That's the deal that we had going back to the Great Depression. We are now in a number of other crises. We are facing climate change. We are facing the drug poisoning epidemic. We are still in the grips of COVID spreading throughout our community. We are facing a homelessness crisis. Our municipality has to provide shelter space and subways. Other municipalities don't. So we need that renewed conversation with the federal and provincial governments recognizing that we are the last line of defense and that we do not turn our back on people in need. So we need a renewed financial partnership between the different orders of government. This is one step. You heard we're getting the long-term financial plan within the next few months. That's the next step. Thank you.